We are live. Welcome, everybody, to today's watch party. I am joined by Mr. Furzel once again in his werewolf getup. So, welcome, Mr. Furzel.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Well, we've got the chat going. We've got Discord going. All the usual suspects I see. Well, without further ado, Mr. Furzel, why don't you count us down? We're about 15 seconds in. I've got the TriStar logo. Some might have the Canon. There might be other logos out there, but let's get her going. You want to count us down, Mr. Furzel? You there? Mr. Furzel?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay,
10,
yeah. Go ahead and count us down.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. We are going. All right. So let us do a roll call. Who's joining us today? On YouTube, we have Mad Matt, Eric, Alex Peacock, Calbot, James Hellier. Let's see. Over on Discord, we have Mad Matt. Eric's over there too. Alex Peacock's over there. All right. So yeah, this is a 1986 classic with Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell. Jennifer Jason Leigh does play a supporting role in this. We have pretty much an all-star cast. I did see this in the theater. Shout out to anybody else. Does anybody else see it in the theater? I remember it in the theater and then it like vanished. So I am curious as to where everybody saw it for the first time. Oh, Calbot's over there. Yes, Calbot is over on Discord too. So yeah, Mr. Furzel, when did you first see this?
Actually, Sharon, this is my first time watching.
Very good.
I know of the film. Oh, there's C. Thomas Howell. He's definitely a child of the 80s there.
Yeah, he was in, oh gosh, I think his first movie was The Outsiders and Red Dawn, I think. So
Yes.
he was making a name for himself in the 80s.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so Eric saw it on TV. Mad Matt saw it in the theater. Alex Peacock is also the first time watching. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right in. This movie really does get going in a hurry, and the setup, all we know is that he's just driving on a lonely road. Um, he is by himself, and the story will unfold.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, driving at night, we can probably all relate that you
Hmm.
might want to have something to keep you awake.
That's right.
For anybody that is used to driving at night, it does get long and heavy on the eyes at times.
So here's a question for the chat. Has anyone actually ever picked up a hitchhiker?
No. Or how about this? Has anybody ever been a hitchhiker and got
Oh, there
picked
you
up?
go.
Both are equally as scary, but yeah, wake up. um, yeah, Mad Matt is currently watching it on Creature Feature Friday on YouTube. Eric says no and no to both questions. Back in the day, 70s and early 80s, I remember all of those warning commercials and PSAs that came on. Here we go. We are introduced to the hitchhiker.
Hmm.
Um, right now he's just a guy standing in the rain. And at this point, you might want to pick up a hitchhiker driving by yourself at night.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, laughingly, my mother told me never to do this, but yet I'm doing it anyway. Um, oh, Mad Matt has a faint recollection of giving someone a ride. Obviously, he survived. Yeah. Yeah. James
Al-
Hillier also no and no. I'm neither a serial killer or a wannabe victim of a serial killer. So yeah, good. And
Alex and
Eric,
Eric, I appreciate the sentiment.
yeah. Um, yeah, and this was a big warning to never pick up hitchhiker. Without giving spoilers, this movie is not about just picking up a friendly hitchhiker and you merrily go on your way and that's the end of the movie.
Hmm.
Um, but we won't give any spoilers because there is a couple pivotal scenes that were key to the writer of the movie and also the director. They were keys in getting it produced and aired, and they didn't want to compromise on the storytelling. So there are some major plot points coming on.
I wonder why Rutger Hauer is always so moist in these movies.
He was perfectly cast in
Oh
this
yeah.
movie. They were looking for someone, I guess, a little bit more like skeleton like and gaunt. So word has it, Terrence Stamp was actually. Oh yeah, don't look at that car.
Whoa.
So warning, warning, something's up. So yeah. So anyway, Terrence Stamp was approached, but he didn't do it. I guess other actors, Harry Dean Stanton, um, they were wanted to play the part, but just Rutger Hauer had that look,
Yeah.
and that intense stare with those blue eyes. And of course, we all know him from the Blade Runner and those piercing eyes. It's
Of
like
course,
you're. Go ahead.
of course, all the tears washed away in the rain.
In the rain. Yep. Um, so yeah, I remember way back as a kid, me and my sister and a friend. I think we were walking to school in the rain, and this was back in the 70s. And I guess we were young and we didn't know any better. And we actually got into the car with someone who drove us to school. And obviously, I survived too.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, these days, how foolish would that be? So yeah, we get a little bit of an inkling of something's just not right with this.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, anytime a hitchhiker starts to make demands of the driver, you know something's off.
yes, yeah, he doesn't want to get out when you told him to get out. Okay, so we're setting the tone. The tone is set. It's dark, it's rainy, and you just picked up a hit.
Jim says that Sam Elliott was actually cast, but dropped out with a scheduling conflict. I think Sam Elliott would have been a good choice too.
I think he had the look that they were going for. I did
Yeah.
not realize he was actually cast for it. So, yeah, interesting. Okay, yeah, maybe that is kind of a creepy joke. Your hitchhiker joking about the guy in the other car that he wouldn't let you stop. Okay. Um, so this movie also spawned a sequel and a remake. The remake in 2007 had, I think it was just a different casting, of course, different plot points. I have not seen that 2007 version. Has anybody seen the 2007 version? Um, yeah, and I'm wondering how it compares to this. This is just the original. Nothing compares to this.
Yep. You don't often see construction workers knocking on your window.
And they normally don't work at night on a deserted roadway like this.
That's right.
Um, and I believe the setting now is they're in Texas, and he's coming from Illinois.
Huh.
Chicago. My wife's from Rockford.
Is that your volume, Mr. Furzel?
Yep.
If you can you turn it down just a little bit? It's feeding back a little bit.
Sure thing.
All right, the road's clear now. Come on, get going.
Oh, James Hillier saw the sequel and the remake and are very bad movies. That's too bad because Sean Bean was in the 2007, and I like to see his good work. So I have never encountered road work at night on a deserted roadway like this. Even if it was an emergency, they would never pay overtime for crews. It would always occur during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
It's a great topic to bring up. Also very non-sus.
yeah. So
What do you want?
this is it. I mean, there's no buildup. This guy's a creep, and we just are going to now see what kind of creep he is. Oh, Eric did see the Sean Bean version. It's not as good as this one.
That's right. So what have you got to lose? Stop
Oh, Mad Matt. C. Thomas Howell was in the Hitchhiker TV series 83 to 91. Why am I not familiar with that?
Hmm.
That's like my prime teen years. Let's see. TV show. Oh, The Hitchhiker was a mystery horror anthology TV series. Interesting. All right, learned something new today. I mean, how would you get out of that?
Well, I guess to feed his psychosis, you got to do what he says, at least for the moment,
Yep.
until you can find some opening when maybe you can like stop and kick him out or something like that.
It's just not an ideal environment.
No, not at all.
And that's why don't pick up hitchhikers.
Whoa! Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Well, that makes that easy. So is the movie over now?
That's it. Thanks for coming.
That's the movie. Credits
But
roll.
notice how bright it is outside. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd say. Okay.
Well, I have to give this movie some realism. I mean, it's definitely addressing the notion that someone could just, kick the person out and drive on. And obviously, we're not done. Obviously, the hitchhiker is going to come back in some fashion. But I like the fact that we're dealing with that issue.
Yeah. And so now it opens it up to it seems like the movie should be over, but obviously we're not. So how on earth? Yes, James, he should have gone back and reversed over him a few times.
I agree.
In a perfect horror movie, wouldn't that have just been great?
Oh, yeah. Well, that really would have ended the movie if he had just gone back and just run him under his tires a couple times, then
Yep.
it really would have been done.
Yep. And remember, this was back in the days before cell phones.
right?
Um, and you were basically out on these open roads by yourself. And you were lucky if they had every couple, maybe every 100 miles or so, every 50 miles, they would have a phone booth on the
Hey,
side of
look,
the road. You'd be lucky if you had one.
hey, look, it's the Griswolds.
It's the, the Griswolds.
I think that's the
They're on their
same
Christmas
station wagon.
vacation. Yep. There he is. Crap is right.
Alex, I think you're right. I go by the Highlander rule. If the head's not taken off, then he could always come back.
Oh, but you know what? Yeah, in a perfect horror movie, he would have ended the guy. But then in reality, the cops would question you. Yeah, but you got him out of your car. Why didn't you just leave? Oh, let
Wow.
me adjust this.
I certainly wouldn't let a hitchhiker be kissing my daughter either. Oh,
This is just bizarre. That
it kind of reminds me of Duel. It's kind of like this just
yes,
normal guy in a extraordinary situation that's just being hounded by this other character as he's making his way down the road, and kind of see how things play out.
yeah, and it's interesting. You should make that comparison because Duel was kind of the inspiration, sort of, for this story, and it was um, the kid who wrote this when he was shopping around. They had said it was Duel, but with people,
Oh,
and so there is a correlation and a direct comparison.
I tell you, I don't know how many of you have driven out there in the Southwest in the desert area, but you get on roads that are long and flat and straight for miles and miles. It get very monotonous.
It can. Our background, that open road is not too far from where I am in the Badlands, and it just goes on forever.
Oh yeah.
Um, and there are still spots that do not have cell phone service.
Hmm.
Okay, this is a telltale sign that something is horribly wrong.
Oh yeah.
Alex, he's driving an 80s Cadillac. Could
Oof.
be. Oh, I don't know if that plot point as to why he's in that vehicle and at that location, if that has been explained yet. But he's just basically a kid from Chicago driving a vehicle out to California, and he was basically hired to do it.
Hmm. Now we got a little dust storm.
And he's still like out in the middle of nowhere. And this movie just has a feeling of isolation, which is one of the ingredients in making a really, really good, captivating horror movie is the sense of isolation.
Oh yeah.
And here he is.
Hmm.
Yeah, Mad Matt, those monotonous straightaways are easy to drive and you don't realize you're speeding. And inevitably, when you do speed, there is a highway patrolman clocking you and they will pull you over.
And this Hitcher sure gets around.
So, yeah, so he got there maybe before James. Okay, so I think they gave their names, right? James and John. That's John Ryder.
Hmm.
It would make sense, though, that on these lonely stretches where you do have maybe a gas station, you only have one gas station, everyone's going to stop there. So it would make sense that you would run into someone that you're trying to avoid, there really is nowhere else to stop and call for help. Yeah, and I guess out there in Texas and some of these areas, those dust storms are pretty common.
So this Hitcher seems to be just jumping in with different riders. It's not like he's even necessarily hounding C. Thomas Howell's character. What's up, buddy?
So yeah, that's exactly right. He is on a journey and he will take a ride from whoever. But how do you warn everybody? Um, I get, you would try to call the police and warn them, but he's just not able to do that.
Whoa.
Okay, so now we have a sense that he's being stalked. So now this hitchhiker, is he stalking him or just happens to be there? Or is
Well,
just pissed off? He got
yeah,
pushed
now
out of
he's
the
taking
car.
control of a vehicle. He's not just a rider anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm getting the sense that John is kind of, he's just pissed and toying with him because he could drive off and go about his life. He doesn't have to mess with his character.
Hmm.
Yeah, Cowbot. He drove across Nevada once. You were always heading for the same mountain. Once you get there, you pass it on the left or the right, and then you are heading for the same mountain again.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Eric posted a picture over on Discord.
Cool.
That was from, I know the movie's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, that. Oh, come on. All right, come on, chat. What is the name of that movie?
Hmm.
And there was like 2 or 3 sequels. The character who hibernates and comes out every like 20 years or so and hunts.
Jeepers Creepers?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. Jeepers Creepers. That is it.
Hmm.
Yes, Eric, it starts with a J. Jeepers Creepers.
So the other question I had for the chat, I was going to save it for later, but I guess now is as good a time as any, is asking, so what's your favorite Rutger Hauer film? Is it this or is it something different? Personally, mine would probably go with Blind Fury.
Oh, I don't think I've seen Blind Fury. Is that where he plays like a blind martial artist?
It's kind of like an Americanized, westernized version of the blind samurai, where he's got a katana and he kind of goes around doing good deeds even though he can't see. It's a little it's kind of an action slash spoof on itself, but
Mhm.
it was pretty entertaining.
I had heard of it, not had a opportunity to see it.
Alex says Hobo with a Shotgun, which I've not seen, but I am certainly familiar with. So
Oh, are you? Never heard of that one.
that
I
definitely
think,
came out towards the end of Howard's career before his passing.
yeah, that's true. He did pass away a few years ago. Um, and I think I have a toss up. I know I fell in love with his acting in Lady Hawk, but I think Blade Runner I think is a better overall movie and I think more engaging.
Yes, Eric would
Yeah.
certainly agree with you.
Yeah. And Eric says, yeah, Blade Runner, it's really an epic performance. Lady Hawk was just like this love story. And he really did a great, solid job and just made me fall in love with him as an actor. Yep. Now we have Jennifer Jason Lee, who had worked with Rutger Hauer in a previous movie and took this role because she wanted to work with him again. And again, that the name of the movie worked in previously escapes me, but it was like a love story kind of thing.
James, I'm not familiar with the Osterman
Hmm.
Weekend. I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah. Oh, Flesh and Blood. I think that was it. James Hellier hit the nail on the head. Flesh and Blood, Nighthawks, or the Osterman Weekend. Oh, he wasn't bad in the Buffy movie, says Alex Peacock.
Hmm.
Oh boy, Rutger Hauer has such a long career.
Old Johnny Devick, how are you, sir?
Oh, hello, Johnny Devick. Thank you for coming on board today.
Hmm.
Uh, um, okay, Blind Fury was 1990. Hobo with a Shotgun. Yeah, 2011. He's just got such a long list of movies.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
take
I remember when Omega Doom would sometimes show up on the Sci-Fi Channel back in the day.
Oh boy, wasn't that from the 70s?
Omega Doom actually was later on. It was chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was in the
Oh,
'90s.
yep.
It was the classic sort of like post-apocalyptic cyborg kind of story.
Huh. 1997. I'm just looking at his filmography. I mean, seriously, what wasn't he in?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I won't go anywhere.
Okay, so at least he found a safe place to camp out. Oh, Mad Matt mentioned not necessarily my favorite, but it's fun to remind everyone that he was in the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie.
Mm.
And yeah, that was commented before that he was, yeah, Alex Peacock also
Yep.
mentioned that. Um, and that was one, I got to admit, I have not seen Buffy the Vampire
Hmm.
Slayer. Have not had a chance to watch that show and did not even know that there was a movie on it.
I'm right there with you, Sharon. I'm certainly familiar with the film. I'm familiar with the actors that played in it, and I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never actually watched it all the way through.
Uh-huh. Um, so the movie came out in 92. And of course, I mean the series was wasn't it on forever?
Oh yeah, I remember the series was far more popular and critically reviewed than the film was.
Yeah, and did the TV show it came out after the movie?
Absolutely. Yep.
I think so, yeah. Well, we're in luck because it shows here the Buffy the Vampire Slayer all 7 seasons are on Tubi.
Hmm.
And you've got it on, I mean, all of the streaming services, but it looks like it's on Tubi for anybody who would like to check it out. Oh, old Johnny Devick says skip the movie. Maybe just stick with the TV show.
Sorry I gave you such a hard time, but you'd be surprised the kind of trash passed through here. How is it?
Very good, thanks.
My name's Nash.
Paul Rubens was in the movie too, Cabot?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Where are you
All
from?
right, we'll put it on my to well, 7 seasons. That's a lot. I'm gonna have to start binging it. Oh, the series is also on Disney, but it's the Blu-ray masters, and they messed with the aspect ratio.
There you go.
I thought
Thanks,
about
Alex.
California.
That's good to know.
Yeah, he owns this place. He's my cousin.
Oh yeah, he's on his way out to California, and I'm on my way out to California too in about a little over a week.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we'll do next week's watch parties, not a problem, and then the week after that, we'll take a week off,
Okay.
and I'll be driving a lot of open roads.
Hmm.
So crossing my fingers.
Yeah, don't pick up any hitchers.
No, heck no. But you're driving an open road for miles and miles, and if you see someone walking on the side of the road, is your inclination to feel sorry for him to pick him up? I would just keep going. There's no way.
It's yeah, it's hard to say. I've picked up one or two in my time, and it's never caused really an issue. But that thought's always in the back of my mind as to which kind of person you're picking up, and therefore
Yeah,
what could happen.
yeah. He should really pay attention to what he is eating right now.
Huh. Oh,
Whoa! And he is lucky he saw that. Ugh.
it's like an old naked gun joke right there.
Oh, oh yeah,
Cowbot says finger food. That's right.
oh yeah, yeah. Mad Matt. Currently, everyone is leaving California. Yeah, and I'm heading straight for it. So you would think all he'd have to do is tell the cops there's a finger in my food. There's a finger. And we have no idea whose it is.
Whoa, Captain Denham here with the gun on his hip.
That is a total cliche of these cops in denim. And now we have the cop in the cowboy shirt, cowboy hat.
James Hellier saying in the original script there was an eyeball in the sandwich.
Yeah, that was a point of contention. I think it was just a bit too gross.
I would agree. I think the finger was a more subtle move.
Yeah, and I think in the original script they had written it as an eyeball, but they just couldn't get away with filming it like that. Oh, Mad Matt, that's an old joke. There's a fly in my soup. Quiet, everyone will want one. That's a classic one. I mean, seriously,
what are they arresting him for at this point?
I think they've probably seen some of the debris on the highway.
Oh, I see. So they're accusing him of the things that the
Yeah,
Hitcher's done.
you would think eventually someone's going to come across the carnage on the highway and put two and two together.
Yeah.
And all he's got to say is, you tell him the truth and say, there was a finger in my sandwich. You guys might want to check that out. Yes, James, I think that's Billy Green Bush is the deputy. And he's I think he's one of those guys. Those guys. I think.
It's a young kid like you driving such a fancy car. Stealing?
Yeah, you're talking about the guy in the big hat, I think, and he's a very well known actor.
California. The guys in San Diego.
Yeah, Calbot. Another old one is waiter. What is that fly doing in my soup? I believe it's the backstroke. Corny but fun.
I do like this going around the head shot that just kind of slowly keeps materializing.
It's 312-399-2090. I know the number so well because I called them so many times. I was on their waiting list for a month. I wanted a car going to California. That's why it took so long.
Yeah, I remember there used to be a lot of these car services. I don't know if they're in existence now, but you could get paid for driving someone's vehicle from one destination to the other.
Yeah. If they need an
Yes, that's
actor,
where it's from.
if they need an actor with a mustache, I'm surprised they didn't get Dabney Coleman.
Well, he might have been up for the role. He was quite a character actor in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
He was all over the place. Oh, who posted that? Oh, the Sesame Street. Yes, Alex Peacock. I
Nice.
love the Grover. Oh, Grover's the waiter.
Do I look like a killer to you?
Honestly, dude, you kind of look like a killer. Yeah.
You know, then I would say, well, what does a killer look like?
Right.
Oh, Mad Matt made the point. Real phone number is not 555. That's right. The area code he gave was what, 390?
Hmm.
I wonder if anybody really called that.
Oh, real feel. Turn to your right. Steady. Make it your left.
So he's got to be just pissed that
Hmm.
he's getting arrested for being at the wrong place at the wrong time and picking up the wrong hitchhiker.
That's right. But in those situations, you just gotta cooperate and just trust in the fact that you're innocent. And well, either the hitcher is going to make his appearance, or they'll eventually learn that you're not the guy, and then you'll be free.
That's it. That's exactly right. And, these small town law enforcement agencies, look what happened in my cousin Vinny. They were eventually, they were redeemed. And,
Right.
you have a happy ending.
At least he has the cell to himself.
And he's probably figuring that, yeah, he's locked away and John can't get him. So
Yeah.
at least he's safe for the time being. And you just trust that eventually the cops will figure it out. So let's take a vote. Who thinks the cops are going to figure this one out?
Hmm.
It's a head scratcher. I don't want to give spoilers away.
Hmm. Yeah, Eric, you're absolutely right. Just rest up. Just relax and see what happens.
So I'm going to take a look back when this came out. I believe it was in March or April of '86. What was in the theater at the same time?
Good question.
It didn't get too much love at the box office, and I don't think a lot of the reviewers at the time were particularly fond of this movie. But it has since really it's become a cult classic. That's what a lot of people are saying.
James, are you referencing Fletch, Randall Tex Cobb? You know, my name's Ben. Ben, nice to meet you.
Okay, well, this was released the end of February in 1986.
Hmm.
So it was not a summer blockbuster. Let's see what else was in the theater.
Well, but now he's just wandering out of his cell.
You would, yeah, the door was open to the cell. Yeah, something's up.
Yep, there you go, James.
So, yeah, in the theater the same week this came out, Remember these movies? These are classics. Down and Out in Beverly Hills, The Color Purple, Wild Cats. That's with. Oh, did I ever see that one?
Hmm.
Ooh, Goldie Hawn, I believe. The Delta Force. There you go. A
Yeah, there you
canon
go.
release.
Got you have to have at least one one movie with God, why is his name escaping me right now?
Um, oh, I know, I know. What's wrong with me? I can't think of his name.
Oh my word. What chat, save me. What am I talking about? Oh, I can't, God, I see him in my
Hold
head.
on,
I
hold on.
can't say the name.
Chuck Norris. There you
There we
go.
go. God. Oh my
Because
Lord. Why
I
did that
just
take
saw
me so
this
long?
movie.
Jeez Louise.
So yeah, this movie was it was like number 7, number 8 in the box office because it was up against some pretty stiff competition.
Oh, I bet.
FX. Anybody remember FX? Out of Africa, Murphy's Romance. Yeah, a lot of good movies out.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
Calbot. The budget was about 6 million, and the box office gross was about the same.
there you go.
Okay, is anybody else getting, the hair on the back of your neck,
Is
like
that
horror
is that
movie
a
vibe?
dog's rear end sticking out there? That dog's one heck of an actor if he's just standing
Mhm.
perfectly still like that. Oh, oh.
Yeah. Look away
Whoa.
if you're squeamish. And then the blood spatter on the back wall is now revealed. So now
Jeez
the whole horror.
Louise. Is this Hitcher just a force of nature? He just walks in and kills
Yep.
everybody with no one seeing or no one doing anything.
So yeah, now we're getting the feeling of just what a bad dude he is. But another thing, how could James, I believe his name is James, how could he be in the cell not too far from it and sleep right through it?
That's another good question.
That's what I would ask. Yeah, James Hillier, FX was a really cool thriller. That was a fun movie. Oh, and also James Hillier commented the Chuck Norris movie on a rocket firing motorcycle would beat this at the box office, and it certainly did. Yeah.
I tell you guys, I've driven through and I've visited Arizona and Nevada before. There's some beautiful country out there. So quiet, so desolate, but really nice.
Yeah, and it really does look like this. It is this desolate and dry. And you know what? And this reminds me of another movie that has the same kind of aesthetic look, Thelma and Louise.
Oh yeah.
And I think do they also drive through like Texas and maybe even Utah? They might have even been in Utah.
Yeah, I think so.
If anybody knows, just kind of shout it out. But it has the same um, atmosphere.
Whoa!
Oh, this kid is just over the edge.
I thought for a second the Rangers were going to spot him, but nope, he just jumps out and holds him at gunpoint.
So wouldn't you think that the cops would know what happened at the station by now?
Old Johnny Devick, The Tremors versus The Hitcher. That would be a movie I would pay to see. I'll tell you what.
You know what? Yes. Tremors has the same aesthetic, and so they could actually exist in the same universe.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised that that C. Thomas Howell has become this desperate already. I would have thought that maybe he would just, kind of not take policemen hostage and just try another method, but he's already gone there.
I guess he figured when he came out and found all the cops had been slaughtered, that it probably wasn't a good idea to go back into his cell. I mean, because they already think he did all these other things. Um, but I remember the first time I saw this movie, my overall impression of it while watching this movie was, well, why? Why all the killing?
Mm.
Um, what's the purpose behind it? And it's like, what the, basically, what the fuck is going on?
Well, I mean, it seems to me that Howard's character just likes toying with, kind of playing with his food. He's kind of just like seeing how far he can go and like pushing regular people over the edge and seeing what they'll do as a result, like trying to scare them and you know. But I
Mhm.
feel like if his machinations were that strong and he could do that from the beginning, it seems like he'd never get caught. He could just keep doing this forever.
Yeah, and he really could. If he did his thing and moved out of the area, then they might never catch him. But he's sticking around to, it's like torment this kid, almost. That's kind of the feeling. Um Maybe that he's doing that intentionally just to mess with this kid. But you're right, James. He should have just turned himself in, but he might just be so scared and terrified that he just wants to get out. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it and it's just a horror movie.
Whoa!
There you go.
Just when he was about to give himself up.
Here he is again. This is wild. Yeah, Johnny
I'm
Devitt.
surprised that cruiser doesn't have a cage to keep the passengers in the back from being able to crawl up front and take
Yeah.
the
Well, I
wheel.
think that's a relatively recent invention. Cop cars in back in the day didn't all necessarily have them. But
You're right.
yeah, Johnny Devitt made the comment about an arch nemesis, and that's exactly what we've got. The
Yeah.
protagonist, the antagonist, and the protagonist. We've got that going on for this movie.
And I think Calbot's right. He's showed that gif from The Dark Knight. Some men just want to watch the world burn. I think that's what we got here.
Yeah, I mean, it seriously wouldn't make any sense for John Ryder to stick around for anything other than to watch the world burn.
Yeah. And to watch these other characters have to deal with his machinations and the results
Yeah,
of them and be able to see how they react and see what they do as a result. He could just get away clean, but he wants to play with them.
right. Because obviously he doesn't want that. Oh yeah, James Hellier. Yeah, I mean that is kind of a spoiler, but yeah, a bloodbath capped with his own death is what the Hitcher wants. He's manipulating him into killing him or being killed. Yeah, it's like a standoff. That's what he's after.
James, can you remind me the actor who was in all the Tarantino movies, the cop? His name ended with Park, I think. I might be wrong, but that's the guy I was thinking of whenever I think of like a ornery kind of sheriff sort of character.
Hmm. Mm. So, what movie did Tarantino use this guy in? A lot of them. I'm trying to.
Yeah, just he was well. He used them in a couple different ways, and just he always had the sunglasses, and he was playing like the sheriff kind of character.
Okay, you're thinking of Earl McGraw.
No,
That was his character portrayed by Michael Parks.
oh, there we go, Eric. Michael Parks, that's it.
That, yep. And it looks like he was in, yeah, Earl McGraw is a recurring character.
There you go, James.
And in Tarantino verse, Tarantino's got his own name.
Hmm.
Yep, and he appeared in Kill Bill Volume 1 and Death Proof.
Yep.
There you go. But he did not play in Kill Bill Volume 2. So, uh, yeah, John Ryder is just calm, cool, and collected. He knows exactly what he wants, and he's not frantic or anything. And he's just he's creating frenzy in the world around him.
You never checked it, did you?
Oh, he's just brilliant in the scene. Oh yeah, James Hellier. This is the rare film that Roger Ebert gave no stars to.
Really?
Oh, they trashed it. I don't think Siskel liked it any better, and I think they were calling it void of substance and stuff like that. Oh yeah,
Hmm. Well, I've always found Roger Ebert to be more or less a coin flip when it comes to gauging quality of films, but that's just me.
yeah. Well, and the beauty of movie reviewers is they give their opinion. They're not going to like everything, and there's no way that you can make your movie and please everybody. So you are going to get some negative reviews. This is one of my favorite scenes, and for some reason, it's just Rutger Hauer just dominates this scene as his character and just has so much fun. I can't help but kind of root for him. Like, go, John.
So the coins in the eyes for the river Styx.
Could be. He never did make any reference as to why. I think he was just having fun toying with the kid.
Oh, Johnny Devitt says, anyone saw the cartoon series about the critic? Do you mean the critic, the one that had John Lovitz in it? Because that one I remember watching a lot when I back in the '90s when I was a kid.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and John Lovitz did the voice of the critic,
Yes,
right? I remember that. Yeah, early
I don't remember
90s.
if the critic ever did a parody of the Hitcher, but it could have been.
Yeah, it looks like it only ran for 2 seasons. I seem to recall it lasted a bit more. Yes, Mad Matt, that GIF for the critic. I vaguely remember that show, but I seem to recall it went on for quite a few seasons.
Hmm. James says that it was a Simpsons spinoff and it had a later web-based revival, which certainly could be
Hmm.
true.
Yeah, that could be true. All right.
What's up, honey?
Oh, is your kitty behaving?
Yeah, he wants attention. He keeps scratching at me, don't you?
Aw.
Don't you? Oh, you poor little puss.
Okay, this is kind of an ominous shot with the bus pulling away. And I don't think we've had many of those really wide shots. And there's just been a lot of the close up
Yeah.
cinematography.
Of course, it wouldn't surprise me at this point if the Hitcher was just one of the passengers there. Oh, and there's the diner worker, too. Whoa!
Yeah, Mad Max, someone didn't do a head count. Like you could just get on a bus and blend in.
I'm not gonna shoot anybody. I'm not a killer.
So by now, I'm sure word got out about all the dead bodies, all the vehicles strewn on the highway,
Hmm.
and everyone's looking for this kid.
You know, it's kind of strange because the Hitcher seems to be his enemy, his confrontation here.
Mhm.
But what has the Hitcher really done to try to kill him at this point, other than threaten him with a knife on his face? But other than that, what has he really done to threaten his life directly?
Mm-mm. He hasn't. It's all been fear, overt threats. But seriously, if John Ryder wanted this kid dead, he would be dead already.
Yeah.
So you got to figure there's something else going on. Because he could basically kill everybody and anybody he wants.
Oh, excuse me.
Give up.
So, okay, just let's put this in perspective. I mean, this movie is kind of a slow paced horror, but it's also fast. We've been watching for about an hour already.
Mm,
It just moves along.
yeah. I still see a lot of parallels with the duel here. I just
Mhm.
like, just kind of like the one character against the other. The difference being obviously the Hitcher, we see his face and he's interacted with the main character, but seems like just a lot of just like kind of slow pace, kind of waiting to see like one move's made and then another move is made.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's doing the right thing. He's trying to do the right thing. He's like, he's given up now.
Yep. Well, he has been doing the right thing, except pulling a gun on a cop is not the smart thing to do. But he at least is trying to turn himself in and try to stop the other guy.
You can see I'm Shut up.
Spin on his wrist. What the?
Mm. Yeah, this isn't cool,
Put the gun down.
especially with everybody watching. But you know what? Back in the day, you could say, yeah, the cop did that. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. No, I didn't. And there's no cell phone evidence.
Oh, wait a minute.
So yeah, she picks up a gun and so she's joining the fight.
Whoa!
So that will not only get her fired from the diner, but that will land her in jail.
Yes.
But I think it's sweet. She believes him.
Well, where'd she get the gun that was loaded? Because C. Thomas Howell's gun was empty. I mean, am I missing something, chat?
She was, I think she might have been packing her own.
And there's the Hitcher again, just master
Mhm.
planning from the end there.
So how did he know to be there at that exact spot? He must have been following. He must have been that in that truck that followed the bus in that really wide shot. That was my guess. He had to have been following him.
Oh, Eric says that it was his gun. He loaded it on the bus when he was in the toilet. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yes, Mad Matt, that is Western justice.
Sure.
So, yeah, seriously.
All of a sudden, this is reminding me of that Charlie Sheen hostage movie. I can't remember the title of it. Where Charlie Sheen has a hostage, but then through the course of it, it's kind of the Stockholm syndrome. She starts to appreciate him and starts to love him, and
Is that a comedy movie?
it's more or less, yeah. Chat, maybe you can remind me what I'm talking about here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, does someone want to shout it out? Because I just Googled it and came up with it. Who else knows? And I would never have come up with it. I am not a huge fan of Charlie Sheen.
Well, that's understandable. It's got all that tiger blood in him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Does anybody know the movie without googling it? I don't want to give it away if someone wants to shout it out. So okay, so they have all of law enforcement against him.
Whoa! We got the
This is going to be
shotgun.
hard to worm your way out of and claim you're innocent when you're shooting at the cops and took their car. But it makes for one hell of a chase.
You'd think that the police would aim for the tires or maybe the engine just to like stop the vehicle and not directly just cause injury or injure the car. The chase, James. That's right. Thank you. That's the one I was.
That's it. Good job. I wouldn't have come up with it had I not Googled that movie. But yeah, Charlie Sheen is one of those others that was everywhere for
Oh
a
yeah.
long time.
Especially in parody movies back in the '90s too,
Mhm. Yeah, he was into
like
the
the
comedies.
Hot Shots films.
That's what the one I was thinking of, but it wasn't that.
Speaking of which, Sharon, we probably ought to add that one to the list. That could be a very entertaining
Oh,
reaction.
and then Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part Do. What
Part
is it?
two.
Do or do. Oh yeah, this is
Whoa!
just classic.
Whoa!
They they should be able to take him
That's a
out.
good stunt. You know,
And
Sharon, I don't know if
yeah,
you heard, but I'm encouraged that they're going to start adding like best stunt as an award during the Oscars because really they should be doing that. There are some films that have some great stunt work that just routinely gets not recognized.
really, is that really a push that they might do that?
I heard something in chat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the best stunt category might be coming soon, if not next year.
Well, I certainly hope so. And recall back in the early '80s, they didn't have things like makeup effects, and
Yeah.
they created that new Academy Award.
Oh yeah.
Um, so at least they do acknowledge and do grow as the industry does.
James says Emilio Estevez is the more
Yes,
talented Sheen brother. You might be
yes,
right, James. I might
yeah, James, I
be
was
inclined to disagree
wholeheartedly
with
agree.
you. Old Johnny Devick says I was on a stunt presentation with a Swedish stuntman once. There you go, man. Bet you
Hmm.
learned a lot from that. And Alex Peacock confirms there's a push for stunt coordinator to get an award. Yes, well, I hope they go through with it because it's definitely something worthwhile, especially since so many stunt men and women give their lives to make these films work.
Exactly. Um, there have been too many stunt people dying in the line of duty, so
Oh,
to speak.
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So I mean, this okay. So this movie is just an out and out, just a clusterfuck.
Well, now we got
That's
the
exactly what it is.
T-1000 evidently in the helicopter here chasing them.
Mhm. So yeah, now they have a cop chopper. They have obviously all of law enforcement knows about him, but yet they're not going after the guy who actually did it. Yeah, so that reminds me, James Hellier, have we done an Emilio Estevez movie?
We could do the Mighty Ducks
Um, yeah, we haven't done any of the young ones. He
or
was in
Men
The
at Work.
Outsiders. Hmm, I have to take a look at that. Yes, Alex Peacock. If hair and makeup has a broadcasted award, stunts should too.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, but for some reason, the Academy just doesn't recognize, I guess, what they bring to the industry.
Yeah. But like I said, hopefully they will soon. Whoa,
Yeah,
holy moly!
there it goes. Holy smokes.
I gotta say, I don't know how many of you are watching this film on the YouTube version, but the quality here is really good. If you have your own copy, bless you. But the YouTube
Mhm.
version that I'm watching here is quite substantial.
Yeah, and if anybody does have an one of the older VHS or DVDs, um, I think they went out of print for a very long time. I think this movie might have been in sort of a streaming right, printing rights kind of prison where nobody knew, nobody wanted to do anything about it. And I think, yeah, see that little trip? That was totally not in the script. But anyway, so it just recently started to be broadcast and available in some of the streaming services.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's even in print still.
It's definitely hard to find. I mean, I know that Netflix and Prime doesn't have this film, so
Yeah, and it's some of
it's pretty close.
the premium subscriptions. And I mean, I know it's out there. Yes,
Mm.
Alex Peacock, home video rights hell.
Yeah,
Sharon, yeah. And
yeah.
as we had mentioned before, Dogma has gone through the exact same thing and now has come out of hell and will see the light of day again.
Mm. Alex Peacock, I like your suggestions. Maybe The Outsiders could be another one. Young Guns is definitely one I think that's worth doing a party for. Even Loaded Weapon One would be another parody
Yeah.
film that was pretty funny to watch and do a party for.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Oh, so many.
Okay, so they survived. And boy, now what? What do you do? I probably, well, you can't get out of town because you've already been interviewed by the cops and they know who you are. You will eventually be found. So there
Mm,
really is no escape.
right.
That's sad. I thought he'd help me stay awake.
Hmm.
Ain't the truth.
Alex,
Um,
Alex is asking, have we done any of the police academies, Sherry?
nope, I had just read that. No. Um, when we had started doing these watch parties, we focused on horror, and then we went into sci-fi,
Hmm.
and we've been basically focusing on the horror and sci-fi genre. And it was only, I think, within the last year and a half, where we kind of expanded and went into some of the other type of genres. So, um, no, we haven't done any of those comedies.
Hmm.
But I'm not saying any of the Police Academy movies are in the list, and I'm not saying they are or not, but we are expanding into the comedic movie,
Hmm.
and I want to bring in some dumb fun movies that are not like highbrow
Hmm.
deep thinking movies. Maybe
Absolutely.
something we could just sit back and just chill on.
There you go. James Hillier suggests Repo Man. James, I don't know. I've watched that a couple times, and I'm not even sure if that's worth a watch here. Um,
You
Cowbot
know what?
Cowbot says the second sight Blu-ray is region free. It has more extras than the Warner Brothers disc. Just picked up now. Okay, there you go, Jay. There you go, Cowbot.
Yeah, and that's interesting. You should mention Repo Man. When we were talking about Emilio Estevez, I immediately thought of that, but I thought we have already done that as a watch party.
Yeah, it seems familiar. I
Does it
feel
seem
like we might have
familiar?
already done that one with Andy and
Hmm. I think I
right.
think that was maybe one of the ones I had missed, but I do recall. Oh, Cowbot, yes, Creator VC did a Repo
There
Man
we
watch
go.
party.
Alex Peacock says if there's a Gary Busey series, there should be a Gutenberg series. I agree. We ought to do a few Gary Busey and maybe even a few Steve Gutenberg films too.
Huh. That's funny you should mention that. But I'll save that for later.
There you go. Do we know this diner worker's name? Has she given us our name in this film?
Yeah, she all she said was Nash.
Oh, okay.
So that's all we know. Oh, this reminds me of the Terminator movie. She calls her mom,
Uh,
and that's how he finds them.
which again just it implies that this Hitcher just has almost supernatural awareness and locating skills, which just makes us wonder why. Well, I guess maybe not. Maybe it does just show that he's been doing this for years and years, and only now he finally comes against an opponent that's either lucky enough or smart enough to get in his way.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's almost like all of the forces of the world are working against this kid. And John Ryder has just had every blessing. It's like he knows where to go, when to be there. Um, or he just, like you said, has been doing this for so long and he just knows how to kill people without getting caught.
Mm. James Heller,
Oh,
short circuit robots and racism. Well,
racism.
I
Yep.
tell you, James, like one day in the future, that's definitely going to be a theme that we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah. And we have not had Short Circuit. And I think we had talked about that
Ooh,
prior, about having that as a watch party.
oh, 100%. If we haven't done that one yet, that's
And
that's definitely
yep.
got to be a
And
watch
it's a
party.
comedy and it's a sci-fi and it's just a fun movie we don't really have to think too much about.
Absolutely, and it's got Steve Gutenberg in it, so it checks
Gutenberg.
these three boxes
And
there.
you know what? And it's got robots and it's got Ali Sheedy. I mean, what's not to
Right,
love?
that's right.
Okay, so this is creepy. So creepy.
Good gravy. What does this guy just like Jason? He just appears in the film when he just appears around the people he's trying to kill.
Yep. He just has this way of moving without being caught.
He's either very lucky or he knows very much about how people react, and that's kind of what saves him. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, Alex Peacock made a comment about a C. Thomas Howell series, even his more recent stuff. I did not realize he was still acting. I will have to look at that because I'm not opposed to doing recent stuff.
And James Heller is asking about Fisher Stevens and Brownface, making a reference to Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2. Uh, yeah, I tell you, James, like there were many Indian Americans that actually thought Fisher Stevens without knowing his career and thought he was Indian as a result of that.
Yeah, Alex, a creator VC, we did do batteries not included. I think about a year and a half ago. I think.
Alex
Yeah,
says, last thing I remember him in was the Amazing Spider Man movie. Who are we talking about?
I think C. Thomas Howell.
Oh.
Yeah, and Mad Matt commented he has over 200 film credits.
Oh,
Credits. Um, or yeah, Alex, were you mentioning? Yes, C. Thomas Howell, not Fisher Stevens.
hmm.
Okay, so no
Didn't realize
spoilers,
that.
but if anybody does have a queasy stomach, this scene is intense.
Hmm. See, Thomas, what is that he has in his hand there? Is that a,
It's the bar. He just ripped the bar out of the bathroom.
oh.
He's looking for Nash, and he's probably assuming John Ryder has her. So it's the best weapon.
Where is she? You come on along with us now. We're gonna need your help.
Okay,
Oh, thank you. Howell
that's
is
a
making
character actor that's
connections.
been around the block more than once.
Yes, this is this guy who plays the sheriff or the this law enforcement agency. He is one of those guys.
Chad, can you fill me in? I've definitely recognized that captain guy.
Yep. I had his name at the top of my head. So for reference, this scene is so controversial, and this was one of the scenes the writer insisted on keeping in the movie. But it was very disturbing for a lot of the people involved in making this.
Yeah. James says Jeffrey DeMunn. Okay, there we go.
That's his name.
Definitely, that guy's definitely been around the block a couple of times.
Yeah.
Now they're saying that if we approach, he's gonna just hit the gas. Why don't they? I mean, I still don't understand why they just shoot him and jump in the cab or.
That I think that's going to be explained in about a second because he's got his foot on the brake. If they shoot him, he gets his foot off the brake.
You're right, James. That's who I was first thinking of. Is played that sheriff in the Blob before he gets absorbed. Never seen The Walking Dead myself, but
Oh, really?
no. Strange it is.
Season one and two.
I'm a sucker for zombie films and TV series as much as the next person, but I never got around to it.
Ah, but you're right, Calbut. He was in season one and two of The Walking Dead. And if I remember, he did not play a law enforcement officer in that show. I think he was just like a regular guy. Okay, this scene is intense because now he's out in the open. The cops know he's the one that's been doing everything, and he holds this woman's life in his hands. And so they figure they can't shoot him because then the truck will lurch forward. So I've never seen anything like this in a horror movie.
Look at my face. Right there.
He's clearly controlling the circumstances here. He really does want to have the almost like the thrill of him being his life being taken away here while he's taking someone else's life. He's
Right. Yeah, and I think James had touched on that. Was it James Hellier that had commented earlier about he's taunting him?
yes.
Shoot me, I dare you.
It really does remind me of like the Joker character in The Dark Knight. He just seems to
Mhm.
have like even though he pretends to be an agent of chaos, he seems to have all the ins and outs here and is able to control the other characters fairly willingly.
Yeah. This it's intense when you have a character like that who creates chaos but yet is not afraid to die and is taunting people to,
Oh,
yeah, go ahead, kill me. Ugh,
ooh.
end scene.
I can't tell you how sorry.
The saving grace was it was not shown on screen. And I
Hmm.
think a lot of people wanted it on screen, but they had to make a decision. And
Yeah. I wonder if the remake in 2007
hmm,
showed that or any of that.
yeah, someone in the chat had seen the 2007. Yeah, is it kind of like the same? Does it follow the same track as this movie?
We don't know.
Or did they come up with something original and didn't necessarily have to have that scene in it?
Prince with computers.
So he obviously was not afraid to get caught.
No.
Um,
I don't even know his name.
so here he is, and they do not know who he is.
Hmm.
No, Matt. Did anyone see an overhead shot of the truck driving away? No.
Mm.
You can't see us or hear us.
Cabot says, Dale, the conscience of the group, establishing the rule never be the conscience of the group in that series. Well,
Yeah.
it definitely brings up some interesting psychological perspectives here.
Yeah.
If you act, if you do not act, if you try to stop someone or be passive, it really does bring in some of those interesting questions.
Yeah. And isn't it, yeah, Alex, that comment, it doesn't get shown in an 86 movie, but then in 2011, you get the Spartacus TV series. And isn't it amazing how time changes the medium, changes what is allowed, and changes what us as a people in our culture will allow to be seen. And it's just the natural evolution. Yes, Alex Peacock. Yep. From Star Trek.
Yeah.
And James says in the remake they killed a boy that way, not the girl.
Hmm.
That's just as effective.
Interesting.
Yeah, what's he going to do? What would you do? Spit on him? Hit him? Nothing?
Honestly, I'd probably put my hands on around his neck, but that would be me.
Yeah, maybe shake his hand, relief that he finally got caught.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good way to react too.
Yep. That's good. I mean, you're limited when you have all the cops around you. Yep. James Hellier, Deep Space Nine, and Buffy.
He's got a wedding ring on. Does he have a wife waiting for him somewhere?
Interesting, huh? We have no backstory on him. Nothing has been explained on him.
Hmm.
So it looks like a dual wedding ring. Or could it be the rings that he's stolen from his victims?
Ah, could be.
Could be. Yeah, Alex, they would not even let the kid in the room with him, but this is a movie.
Hmm.
So we'll give him some slack.
That's right.
It created that tension. And we think we have the resolution. Everybody gets to walk away. They got the guy. But we have about less than 15 minutes left in the movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right, Mad Matt. There was no ring on the French fry finger. Did we ever find out whose finger it was?
Huh.
Hmm. Or was it maybe a previous kill that the guy walks around with a finger in his pocket? James Hellier, that's what I was thinking. The two wedding rings. It might have been from that station wagon earlier.
Hmm. Are you telling me the Hitcher killed the Griswolds? Because that would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, maybe he didn't want to go to Wally World.
Huh. Huh.
That's another good comedy. If you want a no-brainer comedy, well, we've got to do National Lampoon.
Oh
We've
yeah,
got it.
Vacation.
Yep. And I think I like Christmas Vacation better than European Vacation.
I would agree.
Yeah, Calva, we're not going to pin Aunt Edna on him, though.
I respect C. Thomas Howell's use of Reeboks for his footwear. By the way, no, neither
Is
was.
that Nike? That's
No, those are
Nike.
Nike. Sorry.
Is that maybe a product placement? Back before product placement was a thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, there is something. There was something just weird. The two had a connection. Oh, kid. Oh my God. You're in the clear.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's looking at his gun. Why are you grabbing it?
You know what? He's about to snap. I think he realizes he's just never going to be safe. Oh, Alex, pretty sure the sheriff in the car is the lawyer at the start of Shawshank. Hmm.
Oh, that's an interesting connection. Yes, yes,
Ah,
I think you're right. Yes, I
I
remember. He was
wonder.
the one that talked about Andy Dufresne and how he had to reload the weapons. Yeah, very nice.
Was he? Yeah, he wasn't in it very long. Yes, I think he was.
I think he
Yeah,
was the district attorney. Yes.
yeah.
I don't know if we've ever done Shawshank, but if we've never done that
Mm.
one in Creative EC, we should definitely add that to the list for this.
Yeah, I have it on my list, but it is almost 2.5 hours.
Ooh.
So um, however, I will be changing time zones, and so when I do post the movie for when I come back from my trip, it will be an hour earlier. So maybe we can do a longer movie.
Hmm. There you go.
Maybe. I mean, okay, so the kid was free and clear, and there's no reason in our heads anyway, as an audience, that he needs to go back. But his character development at this point, he's obviously so far gone that this guy is in his head and he feels
Or
like he's got to
he's
end
just
it.
so hell bent on making sure that this guy gets his just desserts, and he's not sure that he's going to with
Yeah.
where he is. Oh, Miss
Um,
Swift, how are you? Nice to see you.
oh, hey, Miss Swift. Oh, glad you could join us. Oh, you're on vacay. Well, happy vacation.
Hmm.
So this somewhat reminds me of Michael Myers and just so Halloween H2O when she actually at the end of the movie cut his head off. I mean, it was that kind of determination that I'm sensing here that you've
Hmm.
just got to take him out, end him. Otherwise, you'll never know.
Right. Otherwise, he'll just keep doing this over and over again.
Yeah. But I mean, he took out the whole bus and still won't leave this kid alone. This is intense. But yeah, you get the feeling this is exactly what this kid wanted.
Right. Well, at this point, if I'm C. Thomas Howell and I've gone this far, you might as well then put it in gear and run him down. Like if that's what you're trying to do,
Right.
you're trying to make sure that he's stopped for good, that he doesn't ever do this again. And what are you sitting there, thinking about? Absolutely, Calbot. You got to finish him if that's what you're doing
Yep, exactly.
before he gets a chance to get up and reload.
And
And
yep, and start running. Yeah, exactly. Someone's got to this has got to come to some kind of conclusion. Oh, and of course the vehicle won't start. Okay. This is like Thunderdome, two men enter, one man leave.
well, and if you really wanted to stop the kid, he could put put a buckshot in the engine, but he's not doing that.
Well, I think that one hit the engine. But yeah, take it out.
Is this going to be a Back to the Future moment where he just has to like headbutt the steering column to get it to start?
So this is shotgun versus vehicle. Who is
Oh,
going to? That's it. He did that stunt himself. That looked like it freaking
wow!
hurt.
All the more reason why that category should get an award during the Oscars.
Yeah. Well, everybody else gets an Oscar. Every single category you can think of, but stunt work gets an Oscar.
Yeah,
Yep.
the
This is
last
what
thing
we
I would
should.
do at this point would be to get out of the car before he's down for the count. But
Yeah, but this is the trope in a lot of the horror movies. You have to go make sure the job is done. Make sure
yeah,
the job is done.
yeah, James, I'm with you. I
Yeah.
just go right over them a couple times, and then I'll shoot first and ask questions later. That's basically what I would do.
Is it over? Is it over?
And that I don't get. I mean, you could kick the body and it's going to move, and you could just as easily just be playing possum. I mean, come on. If you're going to shoot them. If not, get out of there.
Just to make sure, you have to do it just to make sure.
If you're going to do the double tap, do the double tap, but don't
Right. Well,
stand
you
around
can see him
with-
breathing. You can see his chest is rising.
Oh yeah.
She's got shallow breaths.
Whoop.
Finish him off. he's like the Energizer Bunny. Michael Myers, not dead yet.
Well, that would probably do it.
There you go. If that doesn't do it, then he literally is a Michael Myers or a
Right.
Jason.
He's literally a force of nature at this point if he
Exactly.
gets up from that. But the other thing I'm wondering is like, what was the Hitcher thinking? I mean, if he had just laid there and played possum, he might have gotten away and been able to get up and start this all
Mhm.
over again.
Well, but the whole movie he could have gotten away, right?
Yeah.
His goal was not to get away. Cal, but it's only a scratch. Yes. Oh, there you go.
There we got the credits. Wow.
Bam. There you have it.
Whew.
Whew, that was intense.
That
And I have that same feeling like, what the fuck?
was.
All right. There you go. And so what does everyone think? Oh, James Hellier. Yes, he could be on PCP. Yeah. Yeah. So there you have it. This is one of those movies I had seen a long time ago, wanted to revisit and enjoy it with you guys. And there you go. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, what'd you think, Mr. Furzel? First time watch.
I'll tell you, it was definitely very intense. Like I said, it had a lot of parallels with Duel, the kind of, just an ordinary person kind of pushed to the end, pushed to the breaking point to try and, stop this force from, doing more evil out there on the road. And I think it fit that mesh kind of well. Just it added a couple more elements than the Duel did, but otherwise kind of filling the same kind of theme.
Interesting. Yeah, so we've got quite a few comments from the chat. Old Johnny Devick, this is a great road movie. Eric says, great watch, good movie. Calbot says, never saw the sequel, but it should have been C. Thomas Howell as the Hitcher. Yeah, I have not seen the sequel. James Hellier says he wanted to turn Jim into a killer. That's a good point. Yeah, Johnny Devick, loved the film. Miss Swift, I used to love this movie. We'll catch a replay when I get back home. Well, hopefully you can join us next week, Miss Swift, and you all can come back next week. We've got a treat.
Oh, we do.
Yes. So before I have to take a week off, I wanted to revisit a movie before it got away from me. So next week we are going to see Under Siege, the 1992 classic, Gary Busey and Steven Seagal.
And Tommy Lee Jones, if I'm not mistaken.
And Tommy Lee Jones. And I think you pronounce her name Elena Elaniak. I think that's how you pronounce it. So it should be available in your area. I know it's widely available on a lot of the streaming services. If you have any problems finding it, let me know. And so any final thoughts? Anybody want to throw out a final thought before we end for the day?
Well, Eric is saying, and don't forget Erica Eleniak.
Elenia, I think that's how, yeah, with her big on-screen moment. Yes.
Well, I think that goes right along with the package from Gene Hackman that we saw last week, too.
Yeah. So, yeah, Under Siege will just kind of wrap it up for us, and then we'll be taking a week off. And so, yes, Mad Matt, final words. Don't stop for hitchhikers. Be careful out there on the road.
That's it.
And all right, Mr. Frozel, that's a nice wave. So
yeah, just keeping the sun out from my screen. It's kind of we're getting towards the end, and the sun's starting to stream in through my window there.
There you go. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you all next week. Spread the word. I hope to have more people join us And as we expand into whole kinds of other different movies, and I can't wait to get into some of the summer fun we've got planned. And so, anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Furzel, and thank
Yeah.
you all for joining us.
Yeah,
Listening.
thanks, Sharon, for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I'll hopefully see you guys maybe next week.
That's right. And y'all be good to yourselves, be kind. And I know Andrew used to say that, be kind, but it is true. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to
Absolutely.
animals. And we're going to do it all next week. Thank you.
Okay, later,
Yeah.
Gators.